Virtual Sunday School. I'm Vicki Peckham. I teach the 5th grade class and also am the director of our program. Looking forward to seeing you in person, but until then, we're going virtual. This Sunday, we're going to have a lesson on the Holy Cross. Tomorrow is the feast day of the exaltation of that cross, and that means when the crosses that Jesus and the 2 people, the criminals next to him, were found. And that's the story I'm going to start with. The Emperor Constantine was in the middle of a huge war, and one night as the war was going on, he looked up and saw a cross in the sky, and it said, "If you put crosses on your shields, you will be victorious." His army was very small. They were fighting a huge army, but can you believe it? They won. Before this time, fish represented Christianity, and that's when he changed the cross to represent our faith. Saint Helen was his mother, and she was bothered by the fact that over 300 years later, they never searched for where the cross that Jesus was buried or crucified on. So she asked her son if he would provide some help, and he said, "I will give you some soldiers, and go for it, Mom, you can do it." So she searched and searched. She went to Golgotha, where Jesus was crucified, and there were 2 other crosses where the criminals were. One went up to heaven with Jesus, and the other one, we're not sure what happened to him. Anyway, she searched and searched, and again, it's the desert. And through over 300 years, the sand covered the mountain, and obviously it was buried. How deep, we don't know. Anyway, finally, one day, she looked over and there was a basil plant. What is a basil plant doing in this desert climate? Maybe it was a sign from God. So she sent the soldiers, she went there, they started digging, and thank God they found the crosses. The interesting part is, though, which cross belonged to Jesus. And at that time, there was a funeral passing by, and they asked the funeral to come, and when they brought the person who had passed over each cross, the first one, nothing happened. The second, nothing happened. But when he passed the third one, that man became alive. There are different versions of that story. I've heard about the blind man. The one we like to use here is the man who died and was resurrected, just like Jesus was. So long ago, here's the icon of the feast day of the exaltation. If you zoom in, if you look closely, this is Saint Helen, and obviously both Constantine and Helen weren't saints, but because of what they did for Christianity, they were named saints. So this is Saint Helen. This is the patriarch who, once they found the cross, gathered all the people, and Saint Helen asked him, the patriarch, to resurrect the cross, and everyone gathered to worship. So this is the icon of the feast day of the exaltation of the Holy Cross. So hopefully all of you are wearing crosses. I'm wearing one right here, which tells people and keeps my faith strong that I am a Christian and I am proud of it. But whenever you see a cross, long time ago when you saw crosses around the time of Jesus's crucifixion and before, they were only used to punish criminals. So they had a negative meaning. If you saw a cross, you would say, "I don't want to go anywhere near it." But now a cross is symbolic of Jesus' resurrection, his sacrifice for us and for our salvation. This is a cross that my 5th graders decorate. I have a sample, and I'm just using it today. But one thing we need to know about the cross is the vertical part of the cross represents our relationship with God. The horizontal part of a cross represents our relationship with others. And if you look at the icon, you can't look at it. I was going to say the icon of the Virgin Mary with her arms wide open, which I don't know if Charlie can get. Thank you, Charlie, for being our cameraman. She has her arms wide open, which I think reminds us to love our neighbor as well as love God, the two golden rules. The last thing I want to talk to you about before I move on is when we make the sign of the cross. Okay, we make the sign of the cross with our 3 fingers, which represents the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. These 2 fingers have a purpose. Everything we do in Orthodoxy has a meaning. These 2 fingers represents Jesus on earth and Jesus in heaven. So we do want to make our cross with purpose. We put our fingers together because the Holy Trinity is one and Jesus in heaven and earth. And then we say to the Father, to the Son, and the Holy Spirit. One of my friends, she was saying she saw someone make the cross like this and it looked like a guitar. If you're going to make the cross, do it with meaning. It is better to do it one time right than many times wrong. So please do it with purpose. You always use your right hand. So if you're right-handed, you use your right hand that you write with. If you're left-handed, use the opposite. And I'm going to turn around just because you're probably looking at this backward. It's to the Father, then it goes down to your stomach, to the right shoulder, and then across your heart. So that is the way you make the sign of the cross. And I think that's pretty much for today's lesson. I do want to tell you about your job. Your job is to either go home or go in your yard or find anything around that you could put 2 sticks together. You could find some cardboard to make a cross and decorate it. And if you decide to do that, please send us pictures because we're going to create a photo and or video montage every week with your picture in it. The other thing, if you don't want to be crafty, is just show us how you properly make the sign of the cross. We'd love to see the video of you saying to the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. I want to add one more thing. The time we make the sign of the cross is when we say the Holy Trinity to the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. We make the sign of the cross before and after prayer. We should say it the first time you wake up in the morning and the last thing you do at night. Whenever you hear Virgin Mary, you should make the sign of the cross. When the holy gifts are passed in church, you make the sign of the cross. Before and after the gospel, we make the sign of the cross. Before and after we receive communion, we make the sign of the cross. And any other time, you can make the sign of the cross. A couple times I find myself in church making the sign of the cross because I'm praying at a different time. No one else is making it, but it's okay. The more you make the sign of the cross, the better. God bless you all, and I'm looking forward to seeing your videos. Take care.